You want a business you can trust with a name you can trust to work on your vehicle. Think AMCO Transmissions and Total Car Care in North Logan. They have the experience to get your vehicle in and out quickly, diagnosed, and fixed right at the most affordable cost. AMCO, 75 East, 2000 North in North Logan. And hey, if you're a mechanic, AMCO is hiring. Come start your career for that same great national name and enjoy your new career. Apply today.
AA MCO.
Trouble with pain, sleep, or anxiety? Want better health? Try CBD7, the CBD experts. You simply can't get this water-soluble CBD at grocery, convenience, or health food stores. Water-soluble CBD7 absorbs 15 times better and tastes great. CBD7 has the only clinically proven formula with real measurable results. Many feel better in minutes. CBD7 is not a drug and has no side effects. Other CBDs just can't do all that. Visit CBD7 today. Learn about CBD and try our best for free.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without a homegrown tomatoes? Only two things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
Good morning and welcome to the Garden Guide. This is Mark Anderson with Anderson Seed and Garden. We've got another beautiful weekend in front of us. It's a little warm out there, but unusually warm for the first part of June. But I was out working in the garden last night, and sun kind of went down behind the mountain and cooled things down. And it was just really nice being outside last night. So not too uncomfortable, I would say, crawling around on my hands and knees pulling weeds out of the onions. So
it does feel nice when the sun goes behind the mountain, though, doesn't it?
Not too bad. Yeah, got three more rows of corn planted.
Ooh.
Yeah, so trying a new variety. It's called Nirvana. And it is supposed to be the newest and the greatest and most amazing. So
right.
We'll find out.
We'll find out, right?
We'll find out. I've got it watered in really well with my soaker hoses, and I can hardly wait. I can almost taste it already. So that's
Oh, man, I love corn. Corn from the garden is just A tier. It's just so good.
So this week we got some bush beans planted, got the corn planted, finished off planting some squashes and pumpkins, and they're all coming up. Just took like 4 or 5 days. They're all coming up, and my new cantaloupes. I got a new cantaloupe to try. So we've got those up and growing already, and the tomatoes are starting to grow out of the tops of the aquadomes already. The heat really does make a difference for the plants.
Yeah.
As long as they're not like stressing for water, they will grow like crazy with this kind of heat. So I have noticed my tomatoes putting on an inch of growth almost a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So they're really growing like crazy. But a lot of bugs around, so we can definitely talk bugs today on the show. It seems as if bug populations are just exploding right now, so we probably should definitely talk about that. And weeds as well too. You're getting weeds all over the place, but has been warm. I'm seeing a lot of people coming in with stressed lawns that are struggling and stressed plants that are struggling as well. So we can talk a little water conservation as well if we need to today. And it's not too late to plant everything. So like I said, I planted beans and corn this week, and squashes, melons, cucumbers. It's a great time to be out in the garden, and if we've got some empty space out there, there's still plenty of time for seeds. And we just got another shipment of plants in yesterday for the greenhouses, and about 1,000 shrubs in again this week for the nursery stock. So lots and lots of shrubs and perennials coming in. Just unloaded trucks the last 2 days, so we're stocked back up again. The only thing we're low on is like flowering trees. Flowering trees and fruit trees are just about They're history for this year. They're pretty much gone. But I do have some nice shade trees that we brought in, and I'm hoping to have another couple hundred trees coming the latter part of this month. So we'll have some more. We'll have some more shade and flowering trees coming when we get there. So got our fingers crossed for the trees. So hoping that they do pretty well. So phone lines are open. If you'd like to join us here on the show, we've got a lot of things we can talk about today, but love to have you call in with questions or comments. 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. And like I said, there's some great things going on at Anderson Seed and Garden. Don't forget that the Wednesday market is going every Wednesday, so it's been great to see new vendors coming each week, and it's from 8 o'clock until 6 every Wednesday right there on Center Street. It's on the sidewalk, so the road's not closed or anything. You can just come down and browse around what everybody's doing. There's usually some great specials. There's some good food, and hopefully each week there's a few more vendors that show up, and it just seems to be growing a little bit every week. So we'd be excited to have you come down and see us there. At Anderson's, we are doing fresh cut flowers. So we've been doing fresh cut flowers and just wrapping them up in butcher paper and sending you home with them. So some gorgeous little flower bouquets that are very reasonably priced. And it's been a lot of fun. It seems like everybody's really enjoyed the flowers and enjoyed picking those up and taking them home. So fresh cut flowers from Anderson Seed and Garden on Market Wednesdays, and so that's something new that we've never done before, and it's worked out really, really well. So if you'd like to join us here on the show, Cody's just dying for more phone calls.
I'm here for you. As soon as you call, I will be there to answer you.
753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. 5868. You said you had some bugs.
I do,
in
yeah.
your yard too.
They're invisible bugs. Obviously, I don't see them, but just the tops of my starter melons, especially, they're getting chomped on. They don't have a lot to protect themselves. That's for sure.
We'll have to discuss the damage, and maybe I can figure out what it is just from the damage that they're leaving on the leaves. If the leaves are just like disappearing completely, then it's a little bit harder to identify them. Mm-hmm. But we kind of know who the ravenous appetites are out there in the yard, so we can kind of take a wild guess. But looks like we've got a phone call already.
We do already. We're so excited. Christine's going to be on the line for you, Mark. Here she is.
Good morning, Christine. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
How are you today?
Doing great. It's so beautiful outside today that I'm excited. I know it's going to be warm, but I can live with a little heat. My plants are loving it. So
I was wondering, I made a round around my garden, and I have some grapes, and I noticed the leaves were curling just a little bit. So I did some investigating, and I can't see anything on the leaves, but on the stem of the leaves, it looks like there's white stuff. And then we were out planting the cucumbers last night, and I noticed, it's probably an 1/8 of an inch long white thing.
Yeah.
And then I went over to my hibiscus plant, and it's got brown aphids.
Yeah. Aphids are terrible right now. So we've seen woolly aphids. So yesterday I saw multiple samples of woolly aphids, and they're white and kind of fuzzy.
The white ones.
Yeah, they're kind of fuzzy and white. But you can't believe the amount of samples of aphids I've seen on the cherry trees. So I've had just sample after sample after sample yesterday of just black or brown aphids all over. So we're seeing a lot of aphid damage going on right now. We've been trying to get ladybugs in for about the last 2 weeks, and I have my fingers crossed and my toes crossed that we're going to get some next week. But our shipments have not shipped. Apparently they've been having trouble with FedEx getting the bugs to their locations on time. And the bugs have not been surviving that well. and so they have just kind of stopped shipments until they can get their act together at FedEx. So we have not been able to get any ladybugs, but ladybugs are a great option to try and get those under control. Personally, I sprayed my stone fruits and some of my apples and some of the other plants around the yard with spinosad soap about 2 weeks ago because I kind of could see them starting to pop up. And I have not had any problems since. In fact, I was out checking the orchard last night, and all the trees look great. Don't have any problems. And the spinosad soap is a natural insecticide, and it's very, very effective on aphids and spider mites and thrips, and it works on caterpillars like crazy. It's really, really great for cherry fruit fly, so you don't get the little white worms inside the cherries. But there's a lot of really great options for the aphids. Triple action from Fertilome's all natural organic option as well too. But permethrin 7, malathion, any of those insecticides would do a great job. Just try and spray in the evening when it's not so hot, and that way you'll have enough time to dry before it gets hot again the next day. And make sure and follow the directions. If it says a tablespoon per gallon, then don't go more than that, especially with the heat right now. I've seen a little bit of damage on some trees and some plants that maybe got sprayed a little too strong with their mixing. So be accurate when you're mixing. So
do you have that soap in?
I do.
You're not going to run out because I asked about it.
No. I have plenty. I have plenty. Yeah. No, your question was very appropriate. Great timing. The spinosad soap comes in a concentrate and also in a ready-to-use form. And so you can mix it up in your own tank sprayer, or I've got it already mixed and ready to go in a trigger sprayer. So it's whichever works the best for you. I have seen a lot of iron deficiency as well too. So watch the grapes for iron. We're seeing that a lot already this year. It's early, but we're seeing iron deficiency already. So.
Well, I just fed them last week. My raspberries are starting to pick up because I fed them.
Oh, very good.
But my grapes didn't seem to. Maybe it'll take longer.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to do it again.
Yeah.
But can they jump from like a rose bush to grapes? But I don't know how they're getting to the hibiscus plant because it's totally away from them.
The aphids?
Uh-huh.
They can move from plant to plant, absolutely.
Okay, so they started on my rose, so then they went to my grapes.
Yeah. Wouldn't hurt to kind of think about some of the plants that the aphids really, really like, and then maybe do a little preventative spray in there. So
will they go to my garden next?
Possibly. Yeah, it depends on the plants that are out there, but they love like all the cole crops, so cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kohlrabi.
Peas?
Not so much on the peas, a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, not so much, but they
I have just peas is the only cold one I have.
Yeah. So kind of watch those two.
Okay, well, I guess I'll come in and get some soap. I was hoping you would have some ladybugs.
Yeah, we were hoping. Yeah, we were hoping this week too. I've got about 20 people that I have their phone numbers I'm supposed to call when they come in, and I'm sure they're wondering why I didn't call them yesterday. So
I guess I better get on the list so I can get some.
Yes. I've got a double order coming for next week, hopefully. But like I said, this has been an interesting year. Some things just have not arrived on time, and sometimes it's from production, and sometimes it's from shipping, and sometimes it's from who knows what. So,
okay,
yeah,
all right,
then. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you for helping me.
Oh, you have a great weekend. Yeah, thank you.
I will. You too.
All right,
thanks.
You. All right, if you'd like to join us on the show, 753-5868-753 KVNU, and it looks like we've got another caller.
Yeah, we have a couple people on the line. First up is Richard, and then we have Catherine after her.
Right. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Mark. You kind of answered everything. I've got aphids in my maple tree that we were looking up underneath it, and they are plentiful.
Oh, yeah. It seems like between the grasshoppers and the aphids right now, explosion of population. And so for the maple trees, I would probably suggest something different. I would go with a systemic insecticide because the tree's much bigger. It's harder to cover than like say a grape or a smaller cherry tree where you can do like just more of a contact insecticide. But for the maples, a systemic would be great, and it does come in a concentrate. It comes in a ready-to-use format, and you could also do a drench as well too. The drench will be slower, but it will last all the rest of the year. So so you don't see them come back in September, because sometimes when we have a big crop in June of aphids, they kind of tend to come back again in the fall. And so systemic drench would be excellent, but it moves about a foot a day. So if your tree's 30 feet tall, it's going to take 30 days to get to the top. So maybe a spray and a drench would work well, because you use the same product. You use pretty much the same product. So.
Okay.
All right.
And would you with the last caller, would you do it at night then too? Or
yes.
I guess. Yep.
If you do the drench, it doesn't matter when you do it. But if you're spraying the trees, do it in the evening. Where we're having low 90s, it's excessively hot after it was like 60s for a high last week. It's just we're doing the roller coaster temperatures, and so we're getting really hot. But then it was really cold previously, so the plants aren't quite acclimated to the heat, and so an extra stressor can cause some problems, and that's kind of what happens with the insecticides if you get them on at the wrong time. So be a little bit careful that way. Yeah.
Perfect. I appreciate that. That spinosad is good for mosquito larvae too.
It is. It's like one of my very favorite insecticides, and it's almost time to spray cherry trees. As soon as the cherries start coloring up, that's when you want to spray them, because the adult flies come in and lay their eggs just under the surface of the skin, and the spinosad actually penetrates into the skin and kills them inside the fruit as well too. But it's not systemic, and since it's a bacteria, it's totally non-toxic for people, and it's super effective on all kinds of different insects in the larval stages, and won't hurt you or pets or beneficial insects like ladybugs or praying mantis or bees, and so it's been a great option. It's one of my favorites. So.
It is a good one. And it's amazing how you can blame COVID on a lot of things, even ladybugs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think the ladybugs, it's all about shipping. Just everybody's kind of behind on shipments, and when those ladybugs sit around in the warehouse for an extra day, they don't handle it really well. So.
I'm sure.
Yeah, unfortunately. So
perfect. I appreciate you. Thanks
hey,
for your
no
help.
problem. Anytime, Richard. You have a great weekend. Thanks for calling.
You too.
All right.
Yeah, bye.
Take it easy. All right. And then you said our next caller, Cody, was?
Yeah, up next we have Catherine.
All right. Good morning, Catherine. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Good morning. I have 3 questions.
Okay.
I've had to fill in some grass seed in a big mud pile in my backyard. The grass is finally coming up. Watering it, how much do I mean, it's still, I can still see mud there, but do I keep watering it all day, or what do I do?
Okay, so when did you plant the grass?
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Okay, and it's starting to come up, but you still have some kind of bare spots.
Yes, a lot of bare spots.
Yeah. Was it straight Kentucky bluegrass that you planted?
Yes.
Okay. Bluegrass is, this time of year, bluegrass is a little slower, but it's gonna be faster coming up. Usually I'll tell people 2 to 3 weeks for it to come up in like May. And now that it's warming up and the soil's getting warmer, it's going to be faster. It wouldn't hurt to throw a little bit of new seed out into those bare spots. And then I would start altering your watering just a little bit. So instead of going, usually I'll do like 3 to 5 minutes 3 times a day just to keep a little bit of moisture out there. And that works great to get it to germinate. But now that your grass is coming up, we need to force the root systems to go a little bit deeper. And so I would maybe bump it up to maybe 10 minutes twice a day, or maybe 10 minutes once a day. It's going to depend on how warm it is, so it's going to be hard. It's hard to say right now because we're going to have 90s, but then we're going to drop back down into the low 80s next week, and
So when it's really hot, do it twice a day, and when it goes back down, just once a day.
Yeah, and what we want to really do is try and get it to about 15 minutes once a day, and then we're going to start going longer periods of time but less frequently, and then maybe bump it up to 25 minutes every other day. And if we can eventually get it to where the grass is just getting watered every 3rd day, and it depends on your sprinklers too. So if your sprinklers are gear driven or rain birds and they move around, usually you want to try and shoot for 35 to 45 minutes on each station. And if they are pop-ups and they spray the whole area all at the same time where they come up, and then usually you're about 20 to 30 minutes per application, and so it just depends on your sprinklers a little bit. But I don't like to see big puddles showing up because that's going to push your seed away that we're still trying to get to germinate. So try and maybe go to twice a day for 5 to 8 minutes and just kind of see how it goes, and just watch for big puddles.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Second question: with this heat, how do I water my trees? I've got 3 fruit trees.
Yeah.
And I put soaker hoses out there.
Perfect.
You said something about it one time, so I did.
Yeah.
And how long do I let those go with this heat?
With the soaker hoses, I will let them go almost overnight and just let them just drip slowly. But I'm only doing it about once every week to 10 days.
Okay.
So I'm not watering too frequently. In fact, my parents have a big open area where they've got an orchard, and I'll soak those really well about every week to 10 days, and everybody's just been happy little campers. And some of the new trees I've planted, I've only been watering about every 7 to 10 days also, because the soil's holding the moisture really well. And so you want to give them a good deep watering, but let them dry out in between waterings. And if they get a little stressed for moisture, they'll tell you. They'll wilt a little bit. So
now, do I need to have them all the way around the tree, or can I just have them part way around the tree?
You could have them, most of the way around the tree, so they wouldn't have to be like perfectly, circular around the tree, and that should work just fine. We just want to get that moisture down into the soil.
Okay, last question. We're going to put a large planter box on the east side of a shed that we've just put in. I've got dirt for it, but I suspect I ought to add something to the dirt besides just my clay dirt.
Yeah.
So what would you suggest putting in this large planter box?
How big is large?
It's going to be about 10 feet by 2.5 or 3 feet.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be at least 2.5 feet tall.
Okay. So it's pretty hefty. You could put something down in the bottom of that planter to try and take up space, since most of your plants are not going to need the full 2 feet or 2.5 feet deep. And so you can put, bark or, other things that just kind of take up space, and then kind of plan for having soil on about the top 12 to 14 inches. And that will be plenty to grow most flowers and shrubs and trees. I like bark. I use big chunky bark because the bark will actually hold a little bit of moisture, but it's really great for drainage, and so it'll allow the excess moisture to go through. You're going to want to do a half and half mix of a topsoil with like a raised bed mix, and we have some really nice raised bed mixes at the store. And the raised bed mix is more of it's more like a potting soil, but it's not as expensive as a potting soil. But it's a lot of peat moss. It's got perlite. It's got vermiculite. It's got some compost and some real finely ground composted bark in there as well too. And what it will do is it'll lighten up your topsoil so that it's not quite so heavy. And if you're using your own topsoil, I'd probably go 40% topsoil and 60% of a raised bed mix. We need to really lighten that soil up a little bit. If you're using a commercial topsoil that you got from someone, usually I'll go 50-50. But if you're feeling like it's a little hefty on the clay, we'll want to incorporate that box mix in a little bit more. And I think the 2 cubic feet bags of box mix run about $10.
Okay.
Yeah, and depending on how much soil you need to put in there, you got 30 square feet. And so, to fill it up, if you do 12 inches, you'd need 30 cubic feet of soil.
Okay.
Yeah, but then you've got your topsoil as well, too. So maybe plan on getting 6 or 8 bags of the raised bed mix and, equal parts of the topsoil, and you should be in great shape.
Okie doke. Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Maybe a little compost, like a soil building conditioner, something with a little more nutrition in there wouldn't be bad too. That'd be really good.
Okay.
Yeah. So you've got some options. All right. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend and good luck with your planters and your new grass for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you. All right. Cody, you want to take one more call before we take a break?
Let's do it.
Okay.
We're going to have Tom. He's been waiting very
All
patiently.
Right. Very good. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
Doing really well.
Okay, I got 2 questions for you. I got this big area in my garden that I got garlic and onions and shallots. They're doing great. But I want big onions and big cloves of garlic.
Yes.
What do I need to side dress them with?
Okay. If you really want to get the root systems going, which will allow them to pick up and utilize the nutrient a little bit better that's out there, I water mine occasionally with a product called Kangaroots. And the Kangaroots is great for transplanting plants, but it also focuses on the root system of existing plants, and it will get that root system really growing like crazy. And it's amazing what it does for onions and potatoes and carrots, any of your root crops. It just makes those roots go crazy. So it'd be excellent for the garlic and the onions and the shallots. So you just mix it up in water and then water them with it. And then for my onions, I've been using the Natural Guard tomato and vegetable food. And it's great to side dress the plants with, and it's full of beneficial microbes and microorganisms, mycorrhiza, and a high dose of phosphorus in there to encourage that root development as well. And very easy to just broadcast that right down the rows, for the plants, and then water it. So you could probably put that down first and then water it with the Kangaroots, and it would just kind of start to dissolve and work down into the soil, and your plants will love it.
Okay. You got all that there?
I do. The Natural Guard tomato and vegetable food, a 4-pound bag. I use about a cup for about a 10 to 15 foot row. And so 4-pound bag, there's about 8 cups in there. You should be able to get a 100-foot row out of a 4-pound bag.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it lasts 6 months. Not 6 months, sorry, 6 weeks.
Oh.
Lasts about, so if you put it on now, you're like into August, you're good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, my other question is kind of a continuation from the last caller on the planter box.
Oh, yeah.
I am putting one in, and I want to do strawberries in.
Yeah.
How much soil space, growing soil, do those strawberries going to need? So I guess what I'm asking is how much filler, bark, I'd put in, and then the last 15, 14, 13, 12 inches of soil. 12
to 14 inches of soil, and then the rest can be filler. And, big chunky bark. Big chunky bark is about a third of the cost of a nice potting soil. Or even less, possibly. And so it'll take up a lot of space, but it actually holds some moisture and gives you that nice drainage. And so it works great in the bottom of big pots or in big planters, and it doesn't, break down too quickly. And if the roots grow deeper, they'll actually grow into the bark, and it kind of aerates the roots and makes the plants really healthy as well, too. So shoot for about 12 to 14 inches of a good soil mix. And for the strawberries, you want something really light. You don't want a heavy soil. So I'd go higher on the raised bed mix. If you put some topsoil in there, maybe go 70-30 on the topsoil being 30% and the raised bed mix being 70, because the strawberries like it really lightweight. And then I would put one plant about every square foot.
One plant every square foot.
Yep. So for every 12 by 12 inch block, you put one plant.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you much.
You are so welcome, Tom. Thanks for calling. Great questions. And you have an awesome weekend.
You do the same.
All right. Thank you.
Try to stay cool.
Yep. We're working on it. So, all right, Cody, we are at the bottom of the hour.
We are. That went so fast.
Yeah.
So grateful for everybody calling in.
Yeah, for
sure.
So
nice.
753-5868, 753-KVNU if you'd like to join us here on the Garden Guide. And we're going to take a little short break, and we'll be back here in just a few minutes.
In for Will Philwright, I'm Bill Walter with this KVNU News Update. As of Thursday afternoon, 5 individuals have declared their candidacy for office in Logan City government. Incumbent Mayor Holly Daines is seeking a second term. Logan businessman Dee Jones is another candidate for mayor so far, and 2 incumbents have filed for seats on the city council. Amy Z. Anderson and Ernesto Lopez, and Keegan Garrity filed for a council seat Tuesday. August 10th is the primary for local municipal offices, and the general election is scheduled for November 2nd. The filing deadline is Monday afternoon. It is illegal in Utah to get rid of an aquatic pet into a body of water, and any angler Wanting to introduce their favorite species into a body of water is also breaking the law. Such fish introduction seldom improve fisheries, but typically ruin fisheries and threaten the species that live there. Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources has investigated 17 cases since 2015 where someone illegally transported live fish. It is also illegal to keep certain reptile species as pets in Utah without a DWR certificate of registration. Utahns are encouraged to report any invasive fish or reptile species at the Don't Ditch the Fish page at the DWR website. Clear to partly cloudy skies over the weekend and temperatures coming down from where they were late this past week. Low temperatures at night in the lower 50s and mostly clear skies. Partly cloudy to mostly sunny during the day. High temperature anywhere from the mid-80s to around 90. Could see some southwest winds as well. For the latest news, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports. Hi, everybody. I'm Todd Ent. For a while, it appeared the Clippers would end up like their inner-city rival Lakers with a first-round playoff exit. Well, that's before Kawhi Leonard saved the day in Big D.
Double comes from Finney-Smith to Batum left wing. Back to Leonard. He's going to drive on Finney-Smith with 6 to shoot. Leonard, step back, straight away, 3. Oh!
The call on KLAC, Leonard tied his playoff career high with 45 points. The Clips topped the Mavericks 104-97 to force a Game 7 tomorrow back in L.A. Stanley Cup, the Golden Knights defended their home ice in Las Vegas, preventing the Avalanche from taking a commanding lead in that series.
Still on the left wall, looks to the point, shot tipped in! Holding, let her rip, and went off the man's side of the goal!
On KRLV, Max Pacioretty scored the go-ahead goal for the Golden Knights, who rallied for a 3-2 win to take Game 3. And the Canadiens shut out the Jets 1-0 to take a 2-0 lead in that series. This is ABC.
Here's Chad, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
Summer temps are here, the grass is seeding out, and the lawns have gotten stressed. With that being said, we'd like to introduce our new 2-service soil enrichment program to help increase the size and number of roots in your grass, which allows the plant to better use both the water and nutrients that are there, improving the health of the plant and helping the stress of this time of year.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN or go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
Every Saturday morning at 9, you get information to prepare you with retirement solutions for the journey ahead. It's Smart Money Ascent with Clayton Alexander of Teton Wealth Group.
How do we solve that number one fear or that number one concern? Make sure you never run out of money.
And Teton Wealth Group's Ethan Miller.
Then, when you leave Teton, when you leave our offices, you're going to have a plan that you're both excited about.
It's where your retirement questions are answered. Smart Money Ascent, Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Do you want to invest in cash flowing real estate without all of the hassles? Introducing PassiveInvesting.com, a national private equity real estate firm with over $380 million under management. We have an offering available to invest right now in an institutional level, newly built apartment community in Orlando, Florida. Only available to independently verified accredited investors. Visit PassiveInvesting.com for details on how you can invest today. That's PassiveInvesting.com.
Taking the guesswork out of gardening. It's the Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Good morning, and we are back here at the Garden Guide, and this is some of our new music that we had made for.
I like
the
it.
show. Yeah, it's kind of a little Islander feel to it. Yeah.
It has a vibe. It has a very good vibe to it.
Yeah, so it's just kind of happy music for being outside in your garden, we thought. So not too bad. But we're talking about bugs. We're talking about weeds. We're talking about soil and planting plants and planting everything and ladybugs and iron. Just a little bit of everything. So it's a great weekend to be outside in the yard and in the garden. It is a little bit hot, so we can definitely talk water conservation, some things you can do to help your lawn perk up, and how to keep your plants moist and keep them happy throughout the hot, dry part of the summer, which is coming up. So if you would like to join us here on the Garden Guide, 753 753-KVNU or 1-800-369-5868. At Anderson's, we just got some really nice shipments of plants, so we've kind of filled the greenhouse, not completely back full up. There's just not as many plants available as there were a couple weeks ago. But we brought some nice new plants in yesterday, some flowers and some vegetables. 1,000 shrubs in this week. Perennials, large shipment of perennials showed up. And store's looking great for this time of year with it being hot. We've got our brand new shade cloth up, and so it's putting out nice shade. It keeps things cool. We've got our misters going. It's a great time to come down to Anderson's, especially this morning when it's not so hot, and come in and see what we've got going on in the greenhouses and out in the garden center area where the trees and shrubs are. So it's not too late to plant anything. I was out planting beans and corn just this week. Also, our squashes and summer squash, and we've got some cucumbers that are popping up out of the ground from seed. So if you can't find those varieties you're looking for in plants, it's definitely not too late to plant seed. And my peas are starting to bloom, and it's just a great time to be outside. So if you want to join us here on the Garden Guide, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, and we've got another caller already.
Yes,
so,
we do.
awesome.
We got Joan on the line.
All right. Good morning, Joan. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Hi. This is probably a kind of a silly question, but when I'm watering my flower beds and the hose has been laying out in the sun, that water comes through really, really hot.
Yes.
I'm wondering, is that going to burn my plants, or do I have to run the whole hose out before I put it on the plant?
That is a great question. The water can come out really hot, and so it's usually not like boiling temperature, but it's going to be 100 degrees if it's been sitting out in the sun. But it doesn't take long for that hot to come through. So you could just like let it run on a couple of plants, but just don't get it on the leaves. If it's into the root system hot like that, it's not going to be a problem. But if you get it on the leaves, it could scald the leaves just a little bit. And usually it only takes just a few seconds, and then you've got cooler water coming through again. So that's
great.
That's a really great question.
Didn't know if it would kill them off or not.
Yeah, you could scald the leaves because it does come through really hot if it's been sitting there all day long, like you said. Not a bad idea just to kind of just make sure it stays down in the root zone of the plants to begin with. And then and once it cools down, you could hit the leaves with it and you'd be fine.
Great. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Hey, thanks for calling this morning, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Phone line, 753-5868, 753-KVNU. And we were trying to identify your bugs. Cody.
Yeah, that's why I was about to pull you aside.
Identify your bugs. Okay, so you said they were nibbling on your...
It's exclusively the melons.
The melons.
Yeah,
okay.
And, I think there could be more than one culprit because I've gone out and I've had the whole top of the sprout, like it had the two leaves here going. I've had the whole thing gone, which makes me think that a bird
that could be birds
came in and just thought he was a big shot and tried to flex, took my melon plant. But there's also just slight nibbling on some of the other ones, and I'm wondering if it's grasshoppers. Even though I don't see them, they're tiny probably.
So the insects with the most voracious appetites that will eat the most leaf material would be grasshoppers and also caterpillars. We haven't seen a whole lot of caterpillars yet, but I have had multiple people coming in with outbreaks of armyworms.
Really?
And the armyworms have been mostly on trees, but I've seen probably 6 or 8 pitchers that customers have brought in with armyworms that are just like covering sections of their trees. And they just eat everything. And so anything green and leafy, they'll just eat it. Yeah. But any type of caterpillar in the garden will do that too. But normally they wouldn't be hitting melon plants that are that small. So,
right.
So I would probably definitely think, grasshoppers, but grasshoppers will start along the edges and they'll just kind of eat down the edge and they'll just they'll go back and just keep going until the leaf is pretty much gone.
I see.
And so it's a possibility you got grasshoppers. Either way, if it's birds, there's not a whole lot you can do about it except for cover them.
Yeah.
And you can put like a little floating row cover over the top of them, which would allow the water and the light to go through. And I've actually got those on I've actually got some on my cucumbers right now, just for that reason, since they're popping up right now.
I just didn't know that the birds would go in and do that.
They'll eat those little seedlings. Yeah. We've also seen mice do that too.
Really?
Because the leaves on those new little seedlings are really tender, and mice will actually come in there and just eat the leaves right off. So multiple times I've had, and even on the show here, I've had people call in and say, hey, in my greenhouse, I can't find any bugs, but some of the leaves on my plants are just like
probably
disappearing.
Mice coming in.
And I was like, hey, do you think about mice? Do you have mice running around? They're like, yeah, we've been catching a lot of mice. Yeah, and so voles and mice could be nibbling on those leaves as
crazy.
well too. So that's a possibility.
I felt, gardening is a new hobby for me, and I just felt so hurt that someone would go in and do that.
But you could plant new ones, so you have plenty of time to plant new ones. So like on summer squash, like a zucchini or a crookneck, they will produce in 45 days.
Right.
So if you plant them from seed right now, they'll be producing before Pioneer Day.
That's crazy.
They'll just be producing like fruits that quickly. Sometimes even about 45 days. The fastest I've ever done it was a variety that's called papaya pear, and we actually had fruit in 35 days. And so they can produce really, really quickly.
Wow.
But cucumbers are just slightly slower. Melons will definitely take a little bit longer. So if you wanted to get more melons going, I'd get those planted right away.
Sooner rather than later.
Yeah, get those planted right away.
That makes sense.
It's not too late to plant anything. In fact, we're just into the first few days of June, so we can plant just about anything. Cold crops, like spinach, lettuce, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, I would wait until it cools down. So for some of those other cold crops that we would normally plant in March or April, at this point it's going to be too hot for them. Radishes to end of July, first part of August, you can plant those. They'll come up really, really fast, but by the time they're starting to produce, it'll be September and October. And so temperatures will be cooler during the day. They'll be definitely cooler at night, and the plants will handle it a lot better. So you can do another crop of cold crops planted the first part of August and have those coming on all through the fall, so you can enjoy those in the fall as well too.
That's so good.
Yeah, it works great, especially after like your peas will be done the first week of July, and the spinach and the lettuce and kale, they'll kind of be done first part of July as well too. So most people just like yank those up, till that area up, and then all you have to do is just wait a few weeks, and then you can start planting the cold crops all over again, and you'd be like good to go.
Wow.
Yeah. So not too bad.
Very smart.
Not too bad. We have phone lines open, 753-5868, 753-KVNU, or 1-800-369-5868. We are starting to run out of our containers of compost tea. So when all of our gallon containers are gone, we won't be able to sell more refillable containers. And so if you're thinking about getting the compost tea and haven't made it in quite yet, don't wait around, because we probably this week we'll probably run out of our containers. And we brought more containers in this year than we've ever brought in before, but we're still getting close to running out of those. So it wouldn't hurt if you want to do the compost tea refill program, get those in the next week or 10 days, because we're probably going to run out. And last year we did compost tea until about the 15th or 20th of August, and we're kind of planning on doing the same thing this year. So we've got enough supplies to keep it rolling for a little while here. And everybody that has been using it has been coming in and saying they can't believe how fast their plants are growing, and they're just taking off like crazy. So great time to think about getting the compost tea. It's really good for plants that are stressing. So if you've got some plants that are stressed, maybe a little bit too much heat, maybe you forgot to water them one day, you can really perk those plants back up with the compost tea, because it focuses on the root system, gets the roots really growing like crazy. When you have really healthy roots, then the plants can pick up water, pick up nutrient a lot more efficiently than they would otherwise. So, yeah, we got another call, Cody?
Yes, we do. We have Janet on the line.
All right, awesome. Good morning, Janet. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Thank you, Mark. I have a question. We had a basement that leaked, and so we had a landscaper come in and tear everything out and redo everything. And when he did, I didn't notice it was clay that he put for our topsoil.
Okay.
So my lawn's not enjoying that, and I don't know what to do with it.
Is it just kind of in streaks where they had to trench? Or is it just kind of all over? It's kind of all over the place.
The whole thing.
All right, kind of all over the place. There are some things we can do to help that soil so it will absorb and retain the moisture better. And usually with the clay, what happens is when it gets hot and dry, it kind of binds up. It gets hard.
It's hard as a rock.
Yeah, and it's hard to get the soil, the water to penetrate down into the soil. I mean, but when it's wet, then it's always muddy. It just seems like it stays wet forever. Yeah. And so there's some things we can do to condition that soil. How big of an area is it?
Oh gosh, it's not a very large yard. It's probably when you put it all together. Probably 50 feet by 50 feet.
Okay, so 50 by 50. We have a really nifty product. It is all natural, and it is called Ground Breaker. And it comes in a hose end sprayer, so you can just like hook it to your hose. And it is made specifically for treating hard soils that won't allow water, won't allow nutrient to penetrate in. And you can just like hook it onto your hose and spray it. And it lasts a couple, 3 or 4 months. And so you could apply it now. It'll last until at least into September, and it'll break that soil up and condition it so that it's going to accept moisture. What I would also do is throughout the season, and especially this fall. Fall's really the best time to do it. Make sure and aerate it this fall.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, aerate it, and then after we aerate, there's a product called zeolite, and the zeolite is a volcanic rock. It looks like cat litter, but when you look at it under a microscope, it looks like lava rock. And so it's super porous, and it's really, really great for breaking up clay soils and helping with drainage, so it'll allow the water to penetrate in. But then it also holds moisture as well, too. So a few years back, when we built our house, we had to bring in some topsoil to correct a grade issue that we had. So we brought this beautiful black topsoil in. Well, it turned out to be beautiful black clay. And when we started planting our lawn there, it turned into a pond. It was just so hard that the water wouldn't penetrate in. So every time the sprinklers went off, we had a lake out there. And so we just started aerating it every year and adding the zeolite and humate to it. And then after about 2 or 3 years, after about 1 or 2 years, we didn't have it puddling anymore, and then after a couple more years of doing that, it's the best part. It's the best part of my lawn now. It really holds the moisture longer, and that zeolite really, really has made a big difference in how the water penetrates in, but how it absorbs it and holds it a lot longer. So it's actually the best part of my grass now. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. So Groundbreaker to start off with, or Hydrotane. You could do the Hydrotane. It'll do the same thing. And we start with that, and then we'll aerate this fall and start on a little zeolite and a little bit of humate. And a couple years, it'll be like perfect. It'll be great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Hey, thanks for calling, Janet.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, we've got a few minutes left. We can get maybe one more caller in, 753-5868, 753-KVNU. And who's on the line, Cody?
We have Sarah.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Garden Guide.
Thank you. That's Shara, but that's
Shara.
close.
Shara, I was so close. I said it right the first time on the phone, and then I glanced over and said it wrong.
It's a hard one to pronounce.
There you go.
Anyway, my question is this. I need a privacy hedge.
Okay.
And I'm to only grow about 10 feet. And I've got clay, rocky soil.
Yes.
I'm in Smithfield, and I want to know what would be the best fast-growing hedge I could plant.
Do you want it to be evergreen, or is it okay if it drops its leaves? Do you want it to stay privacy hedge through the wintertime?
I would rather have it be evergreen if I could.
Okay. Do you have a lot of deer in your neighborhood?
Yes.
Like consistently or just occasionally?
In the winter, they come down, yeah.
All right. The one that comes to mind first is it's a different kind of arborvitae. It's fairly new. It's called green giant. And green giant is unusual for an evergreen because most evergreens only grow maybe 6 inches, 8 inches a year. Green giant can grow 2 to 3 feet a year. And it will get 10 to 12 feet tall. so it might be a little taller than you'd like, but you can keep it sheared. And a lot of people will shear it into a hedge, so they just all kind of grow together, and you can control its height by shearing it a little bit. But that would make a great fast privacy hedge. But the deer love the arborvitae, and so you may have to do a little bit of repellent in the winter time. But I've got 3 arborvitae in front of my house, and we have deer in our backyard every day. And they nibble on them in the wintertime, but then they just flush right back out with new needles every year. So they by the end of the summer they look amazing again, and then the deer come in and nibble them, and then they look good. But that would be a great option for you for a quick hedge. Otherwise you're looking at like yews, and they only grow 6 or 8 inches a year. They just don't grow that fast or get that tall.
What if I could get something where the leaves fall? What would you suggest with that?
Oh, there's some really good options. Peking cotoneaster would be nice. I like 9 barks, and they'll all kind of max out at about 8 to 12 feet. And those would be really nice too. And the deer won't bother those as much. Dogwoods, like a red twig or a yellow twig dogwood would be excellent also. Privet.
Okay, or any of those, or any of those columnar?
If you did buckthorn or if you did privet, they could be very columnar. And the buckthorns are really nice too. So you've probably got 6 or 8 choices. So if you jotted those all down, you could look them up online and see which ones you like the best, for what they look like. But a lot of them have really great fall color. None of them have really amazing flowers on them, but they do bloom. But flowers aren't just like super spectacular, but they do all have mostly really great fall color.
Okay, do the buckthorn grow fast?
They are pretty quick growers. Yeah, you're going to get foot to 2 feet a year.
Okay.
Maybe even a
all
little
right.
bit more.
Well, thanks so much.
You are very welcome. All right, Shara, good luck.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Okay. Did we get another caller?
Nope, we are free.
We're free.
But,
all right.
Yep.
We don't have. Our time is almost up.
I know.
It just goes so fast.
And we have just so much fun. So much fun.
It goes so quickly, so quickly. All right. Well, this is a great weekend to be outside. We've talked a little bit about heat and water conservation. This week, on Monday, I applied Hydratane to my lawn. And the Hydratane is a 90-day product. It lasts for 90 days, gets into the soil, binds to the soil, and what it does is it makes the soil very attractive to water. So when you apply water, it just sucks the water right down into the soil, and then it holds it there where your plants can get to it. On the bag, the Hydratane, or on the sprayer, it says it will help you save up to 50% of the normal amount of water that you would use. I haven't been able to get 50% out of it, but I've been able to get about 30 to 40% less water used out of it. So if we start having water restrictions and you want to be very conservative on water this year, there's some great products out there that can keep your plants, keep your lawn, keep your gardens looking really great by using a lot less water. And that's something that we may need to seriously consider this year, because using the Hydratane, we can eliminate one whole watering per week. So instead of watering 3 times a week, we can get away with twice a week, and the lawn stays as green as it did before. If we get to the point where you're only allowed to water once a week, I would highly, highly recommend that you use it, because it will keep your lawn from really stressing and keep it looking, halfway decent with only just one application of water per week in the hot, dry parts of the summer. And there's some other products as well too. The Back to Green's really great too. It lasts 60 days instead of the 90. But using these products, you can get through the hot, dry part of the summer. We can get into September, when things are going to start cooling down. We won't have to use as much water. Usually we start getting more rainstorms in September as well too. And that will really, really help with our water consumption and our water usage as well too. And we had a couple of our callers today talk about soaker hoses and drip systems. There's a lot of things we can do to simplify our yards and use drippers or soakers instead of sprinklers, and make that water usage go a lot farther than we have in the past. So, Cody, thank you so much for all your help today.
Hey, no problem. I really enjoy it.
It's great.
It's good to have an expert and tell me a little bit what's happening with my plants and where I'm going, because I just feel like brand spanking new to this field. So
it's great to have you here. And just a reminder for everyone, greenhouses are filled up. Out back in the nursery area where the trees and shrubs are, they look amazing right now. Come in and see everything that's like blooming. Flowers look great, lots of perennials, and it's definitely not too late to plant anything. And don't forget about the Wednesday market. So the Wednesday market right on Center Street, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of great vendors there, and it's just a fun time to come down and be outside and enjoy the planters. We just got all the planters planted on Center Street, so things are looking really great. Give it a couple of weeks and they'll be blooming like crazy. So come down and see us at Anderson Seed and Garden. We're there all day today, 9 till 6, and we'll be back next week with another edition of The Garden Guide.
The proceeding was a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims were solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees.
Your voice for news and talk is right here on your radio.
Breaking news and stimulating talk. KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.